What if the Mayans knew something we still don't understand? Imagine a civilization so advanced that they could craft a calendar that not only tracked time, but also predicted cosmic events with terrifying accuracy. A calendar that still baffles modern scientists. But here's the kicker. What if this wasn't just a tool to keep track of the days, but something far deeper? Something that connected them to the universe in a way we've yet to grasp. You see, the Mayans didn't view time as we do. They didn't think of time as linear, one moment following another. To them, time was cyclical. It repeated itself. And these cycles weren't just markers for seasons or years. They were connected to cosmic forces, energy patterns, and the rise and fall of entire civilizations. Time wasn't just a concept, it was a force. But why did they place such importance on time? What did they know that we don't? The Mayan calendar, with its two key cycles, the Tzolk'in and the Haab, doesn't just track days. The Tzolk'in, a 260-day cycle, was deeply spiritual, connecting human life to the cosmic order. The Haab, a 365-day cycle, aligned in the human world with the heavens. And these cycles didn't just mark time. They were part of a grander blueprint, one that we, today, have only begun to understand. Could this intricate calendar system be the key to unlocking hidden knowledge about our universe? Could the Mayans, with their complex system of celestial tracking, have known secrets about the cosmos, the stars, and the very fabric of time itself? As we dive into this journey, we'll explore the questions that linger around this mysterious civilization. Why did the Mayans dedicate so much effort to understanding time? Was it simply about agriculture, as many believe? Or were they tapping into a deeper mystical knowledge, a cosmic awareness that linked them to the universe? But it doesn't stop there. The Mayan calendar holds clues that suggest their understanding of time and the universe was not just about predicting the future, but about shaping it. The calendar wasn't just a way to measure days, it was a tool for harnessing cosmic energy. But why did they feel the need to keep such powerful knowledge hidden? Here's where the mystery deepens. Despite their incredible advancements, the Mayans mysteriously disappeared, and much of their sacred knowledge was lost. Could the ancient teachings of the Mayans hold the answers to questions we're still grappling with today? Questions about the very nature of time, the universe, and the human consciousness? And what about the infamous end date of the Mayan calendar, December 21st, 2012? We were told this marked the end of the world. But what if we got it wrong? What if the end of one cycle was not a catastrophe, but a necessary transformation, a shift into a new era of human awareness? This story goes beyond dates and numbers. It's about unlocking the wisdom hidden in the very fabric of the Mayan calendar. It's about uncovering a knowledge so powerful that even today, its full meaning remains elusive. What if the Mayans were trying to tell us something? What if they were warning us or preparing us for something? And the Mayan calendar could be the missing key to understanding the cosmic order, and unlocking it might just unlock the secrets of our very existence. In this video, we will go on a journey through the ancient mysteries of the Mayan civilization. We'll dig deeper into their calendar, their understanding of time, and the hidden messages they left behind. We'll explore why the Mayans felt the need to hide their teachings and what happens when we finally uncover them. The question is, are we ready for what they might reveal? The Mayan calendar, unlike any other system in the world, has fascinated historians, scientists, and spiritual seekers for centuries. But why did the Mayans, a civilization that flourished over 1,000 years ago, devote so much time and energy to creating a calendar so intricate that it continues to baffle even modern scientists? What drove them to build a system that transcended mere timekeeping? And how did they create something that's still considered one of the most accurate time systems known to mankind? At first glance, the Mayan calendar might seem like just another way to mark the passing days, months, and years. But as we dig deeper, we realize it's far more than that. The Mayan calendar is not just a tool, it's a gateway to understanding how the Mayans viewed the universe, the earth, and even the cycles of life itself. The calendar was designed not only to track time, but to connect humanity with the cosmic cycles they believed governed their existence. But here's the catch. The Mayans didn't just use their calendar for agricultural purposes or to mark the passage of time. They saw their calendar as divine. It was more than just an instrument to organize their world. It was a sacred map of the universe itself. Why would the Mayans place such importance on a calendar? What made their calendar so powerful? And why has it continued to puzzle us to this day? Let's begin by understanding the structure of their calendar. The Mayan calendar was composed of several interconnected cycles. Among the most important were the Tzolk'in and the Haab. The Tzolk'in is a 260-day cycle made up of 13 periods of 20 days, each with a unique name and number. This cycle wasn't based on the natural year or the lunar cycle. Instead, it was linked to the sacred, to human gestation and the cycles of spirituality. The Tzolk'in was deeply intertwined with the Mayan religious practices. The Mayans believed that the Tzolk'in cycle governed the timing of important events, like ceremonies, births, and other spiritual rites, and that these events were connected to cosmic energies. But how did the Mayans come up with such a precise system? Why 260 days? The number 260 itself is significant. Connected to the human gestation period, it was considered a sacred number. The Mayans were keen observers of nature, and they understood that time, like the human body, was cyclical and interconnected. They realized that the universe followed its own rhythm, and the Tzolk'in cycle was their way of syncing their lives with that universal rhythm. Then there was the Haab, the second major cycle in the Mayan calendar. Unlike the Tzolk'in, the Haab was based on the solar year, the 365-day cycle we're familiar with today. The Haab was made up of 18 months of 20 days, with an additional month of 5 days, which the Mayans saw as a dangerous and inauspicious time, called the Wayeb. The Haab helped the Mayans track the solar year, align their rituals with the seasons, and predict key events like eclipses or agricultural cycles. So why did the Mayans create two different but interconnected calendars? The Tzolk'in was deeply spiritual and connected with the cycles of life, while the Haab was more practical, tracking the solar year and aligning their daily lives with the natural world. The Mayans saw these two systems not as separate but as interconnected. Together, they formed the key to understanding the cosmic order. But here's where the mystery deepens. Why were these cycles so important to them? What did the Mayans believe the interconnection of these time frames revealed about the world and its purpose? Some researchers argue that the Mayans didn't just see time as a way of organizing events. They saw it as a force that influenced human fate. Could it be that they believed the rise and fall of civilizations, like their own, were written in the stars? Was the fate of the world etched into the fabric of time, waiting to unfold? As we look at the Mayan calendar, we begin to understand that it wasn't just a tool for tracking days. It was a spiritual system. The calendar helped the Mayans understand their connection to the universe, to the stars, to time itself, and to each other. The sacred numbers, the cycles, the alignments, they all pointed to a greater truth. The Mayans believed that the flow of time wasn't just an abstract concept. It was a living, breathing force that could shape the destiny of mankind. As we continue to examine the calendar and its deeper meaning, we also have to consider, why has it endured? Why do we still find ourselves fascinated by the Mayan calendar today? Some believe it's because the Mayans were able to access a hidden wisdom, a wisdom that connected them to the unseen forces of the universe, and that deep down we are still trying to understand. Could the Mayans have known something that we have forgotten? Something about the flow of time, the cosmic cycles, and the energies that govern the universe. The Mayan calendar isn't just a tool, it's a reminder that we are part of a larger story, one that has been unfolding for millennia. It's a story of life, death, and rebirth, a story that's tied to the very fabric of the cosmos. So the question we need to ask ourselves is, what are the Mayans trying to tell us? What is their calendar really showing us? And how does it connect to our world today? The answers may lie in the sacred cycles, the mysterious numbers, and the ancient wisdom they left behind, waiting for us to unlock them. Time, we all experience it, the ticking of a clock, the passing of days, the change of seasons. But what if time isn't just a linear progression? What if it's something far more profound, a force that shapes everything around us? What if time itself is not just a tool, but a spiritual force that dictates the flow of the universe? The Mayans believed exactly this, that time was sacred. To them, it wasn't merely a sequence of minutes, hours, or days. Time was a living, breathing entity, one that flowed through every aspect of existence. Time wasn't something you just kept track of. It was a force you aligned with, a force that influenced your destiny, your actions, and your connection to the universe. Their calendar wasn't just a system for organizing days. It was a blueprint for understanding how time interacted with the cosmos. Every cycle, every number, every date had its own significance, its own spiritual meaning. For the Mayans, time wasn't just about counting days, it was about understanding the spiritual rhythms of the universe. Now imagine this, time as something alive, something sacred. Imagine that every moment is connected to a larger cosmic pattern that spans not just across the years, but through dimensions, linking the physical world to something beyond it. This was the foundation of the Mayan understanding of time. Time wasn't a flat, linear path. It was cyclical, constantly repeating with each cycle building upon the last. But what does that really mean? What does it mean when time is cyclical rather than linear? The Mayans believed that time spiraled, with each cycle returning in a more advanced form. This belief had profound spiritual implications. They saw time as a living force, one that carried deep meaning and spiritual potential. And within these cycles, the Mayans believed certain dates and moments held the potential to unlock higher realms of consciousness, to open gateways to deeper understanding. They saw certain points in time as sacred, not just moments in history, but cosmic opportunities for spiritual growth and transformation. Can you imagine the significance of a single date in this worldview? A date that wasn't just about marking a moment, but unlocking the very fabric of reality itself. That's how the Mayans saw their calendar. Each date was an opportunity to align with the flow of the universe. Certain days weren't just days. They were portals, places where spiritual energies aligned perfectly, allowing you to connect with the divine and the universe on a deeper level. And this connection wasn't just abstract. The Mayans believed that these key dates had the power to shape human life. Spiritual events, rituals, and ceremonies were all aligned with the calendar, aimed at harnessing the power of time and channeling it for personal transformation. The Mayans understood that the spiritual world and the material world weren't separate. They were interconnected. And through the calendar, they believed they could influence that connection and access divine wisdom. The deeper we dig, the more fascinating it becomes. What if we could unlock the power of these sacred dates? What if we could tap into the energy of those special moments that the Mayans recognize as powerful, transformative, and spiritually significant? Would we be able to access a higher level of understanding, just as the Mayans did? Could we, too, connect with the universe in a more profound and meaningful way? Consider this. The Mayan calendar doesn't just mark time, it guides it. It's not about simply living day to day, following the usual routine. It's about understanding where we are in the grand pattern of the universe. The Mayans had a deep understanding of how time influenced not only the physical world, but the spiritual world. Their sacred time wasn't about tracking days. It was about unlocking a deeper spiritual connection to everything around them. What if we, too, could embrace this understanding of time? What if we, too, could align ourselves with the natural rhythms of the universe? Could we unlock a more profound consciousness, just as the Mayans did centuries ago? The sacredness of time is something that has been almost lost in our modern world. Today, time is something we measure, something we control. But what if we're missing out on something, and what if we could reclaim that deeper connection to the cosmic forces that the Mayans understood so well? The Mayans saw time as a force that connected everything, life, death, and rebirth, the spiritual and the physical, the material and the divine. And the most remarkable thing about this is that their calendar wasn't just a way of marking the passing of time. It was a living system, a tool that could help individuals align with the universe's natural order. Time wasn't something to fear or control. It was something to be embraced and understood. And that's what makes the Mayan calendar so extraordinary. It wasn't just a calendar. It was a spiritual system, a tool for aligning with the universe's cosmic flow. And the best part is that, even today, its teachings have the potential to unlock something powerful within us. The Mayan calendar reminds us that time is not just something we pass through. It's something we can tap into, something we can use to transform our understanding of the world and the universe. But as we've seen, this understanding didn't come without its own challenges. The Mayans were cautious about how they shared this wisdom, knowing the immense power it held. And so we must ask, if this knowledge has the potential to unlock such transformative power, why was it kept secret? What truths do we still need to uncover about the sacred and spiritual nature of time? When most people hear about the Mayan calendar, their minds immediately go to December 21st, 2012, the date that sparked fears of the end of the world. It became a symbol of impending disaster, an idea ingrained in popular culture, with books, movies, and countless conspiracy theories surrounding it. But what if this date wasn't the end at all? What if it was the beginning of something entirely different? The truth behind this date may be far more mysterious and far more transformative than we've been led to believe. At the heart of this calendar was the long count. This was no ordinary system to count days. It was a tool used by the Mayans to track vast stretches of time. Spanning thousands of years, the long count calendar was designed to measure cosmic cycles, not just the years or days we see on our clocks. Unlike the Tzolk'in or Haab calendars, which served more immediate or spiritual purposes, the long count was built to track long-term history, the rise and fall of civilizations, the beginning and ending of cosmic ages. But what made the long count calendar so important? And why did its final date, December 21st, 2012, stir such global panic? The answer lies not just in the numbers themselves, but in how the Mayans viewed time. For the Mayans, time was sacred. It wasn't just something to passively observe. It was an active, powerful force that shaped reality. And within the long count calendar, they believed that time was cyclical, constantly repeating itself in waves. These cycles weren't arbitrary. They were seen as markers for significant cosmic events, the rise and fall of worlds, the shifts in spiritual consciousness. The long count was the Mayan way of tracking the unfolding story of the universe. And just like every great story, there were turning points, climaxes, and moments of transformation. The end of the long count wasn't about an apocalyptic ending, but a cosmic shift. It marked the end of one cycle and the beginning of another. To the Mayans, this wasn't a dramatic end of the world scenario. It was a recalibration of time, a necessary step in the larger cosmic flow. But why did this end date become associated with the apocalypse? The misconception that the long count predicted the destruction of Earth stemmed from a misinterpretation of Mayan prophecy. In reality, the Mayans didn't foresee the end of the world, but rather a period of transformation. It's possible that modern interpretations misread the significance of this cycle's completion. Rather than signaling an apocalypse, the Mayans may have been pointing to a shift in consciousness, a transition into a new era for humanity. This isn't just about interpreting an ancient calendar. It's about understanding the Mayan view of time itself. The completion of a cycle was a significant event, something to be celebrated rather than feared. And yet, the modern world, obsessed with fear and uncertainty, misinterpreted this as a cataclysmic event. Could it be that the Mayans were trying to tell us something much deeper, something that modern society overlooked? One of the most intriguing aspects of the long count is how the Mayans seemed to predict future events based on their understanding of time. They believed that as one cycle ended, another would begin, and that the events of the past would inevitably repeat in some form. This cyclical nature of time wasn't just a passive observation. It was an active tool used by the Mayans to shape their actions in alignment with cosmic forces. The long count calendar, with its vast time span, is believed to have tracked world ages, and the Mayans believed that these ages marked spiritual evolutions of humanity. So as the end of the long count approached, it wasn't just a date, it was a moment in the spiritual journey of humanity. But what was meant to happen in 2012? Why did this moment hold such power? If we take the Mayans at their word, 2012 wasn't the end of the world. It was the end of an age and the beginning of a new one. It was a shift in consciousness, a transition from one era to another, from one phase of spiritual evolution to the next. The fact that this shift has taken place without the anticipated global collapse doesn't mean the Mayans were wrong. It simply means that their prophecy was likely misunderstood. But what does this mean for us today? If 2012 was just a beginning, a new chapter in the unfolding story of humanity, then where do we stand now? Have we entered into this new age, or are we still caught in the confusion and misunderstanding that followed the misinterpretation of this sacred date? There's an undeniable urgency in the Mayan teachings. Their calendar wasn't just a passive record, it was a tool for action, a spiritual guidebook that called upon us to align with the natural cycles of the universe. As we move beyond 2012, perhaps we're not just marking the end of a calendar cycle. We may be entering into a deeper understanding of the unfolding story of time, one that is waiting for us to recognize the patterns and embrace the transformations within ourselves. The long count calendar at its core is a reminder that time is not linear, that the spiritual journey we're on is cyclical, and that we are in the midst of a much larger unfolding process. It's a process that stretches far beyond the boundaries of a single life, beyond a single generation, and connects us to the very fabric of the universe. What if the end of the calendar was really about stepping into the unknown, about embracing change rather than fearing it? What does it mean to enter a new cycle of time, to live in a world where the ancient knowledge of the Mayans is finally being rediscovered? Could this be the moment when we can truly understand the power of their teachings and unlock the wisdom that has been hidden for centuries? The ancient Mayans were not just farmers, architects, or rulers. They were keen astronomers, watching the heavens with a precision that would rival modern scientists. While today we rely on telescopes and advanced technology to study the stars, the Mayans did it with nothing more than their naked eyes and an incredibly sharp understanding of the cosmic cycles. But what did they really understand about the cosmos? What was it that made the Mayans so obsessed with the movements of celestial bodies, the alignment of the stars, and the position of the planets? Could they have known something about the universe that we are only beginning to comprehend today? Could they have used their knowledge of the cosmos to predict events, guide their rituals, or even shape the course of their civilization? To understand their profound connection to the cosmos, we must first look at the Mayans' approach to time. Their calendar wasn't just a tool to track the days. It was inextricably linked to the movements of the stars and planets. The Mayans saw time as cyclical, not linear, and believed that the universe operated in repeating patterns. Each cycle was deeply connected to cosmic events, eclipses, planetary alignments, the position of stars, events they believed influenced life on Earth. The Tzolk'in, a 260-day cycle used by the Mayans, was more than just a way to track time. It was a sacred calendar designed to align with the movements of the planets and the stars. The Mayans carefully observed these movements and believed that each one carried spiritual significance. In fact, they believed that the fate of their civilization was tied to these celestial events. What if the Mayans didn't just observe the stars, they were able to read them? Imagine a people so in tune with the cosmos that they could predict the movements of the planets with the same precision that we use modern technology to measure time. It's said that the Mayans didn't just track the stars, they mapped the entire cosmic cycle. Their calendar was not just a series of dates, it was a map to guide their understanding of the universe and its cycles. But the real question is, how did they do it? How did a civilization without telescopes or modern technology manage to track the stars with such accuracy and build such a deep connection with the cosmos? The answer lies in the Mayan practice of observation. For centuries, they watched the night sky tracking the movements of planets like Venus, the eclipses, and the alignment of the stars. These observations were not just for the sake of science, they were spiritual. The Mayans believed that every movement in the sky had divine significance. The rise of Venus, for example, wasn't just an astronomical event, it was a sign of rebirth and transformation. What if their understanding of these cosmic cycles was more than just symbolic? Could the Mayans have used this knowledge not only to predict the future but to navigate through time itself? Could their calendar be a map, not just of the stars but of the energy that flows through the universe, guiding their every step, their rituals, their spiritual practices? The idea that their calendar was more than just a way of keeping track of days is intriguing. What if it was a spiritual tool, a way to connect with the divine forces that govern the universe? We know that the Mayans were deeply connected to the cosmos, but what if they understood it in a way we still don't? What if they believed that these cosmic cycles weren't just about predicting celestial events, but about connecting humanity to the universe? This connection wasn't just theoretical, it was practical. The Mayans would time their ceremonies, their festivals, and their most important decisions based on the alignments of the stars and the cycles of the planets. In their worldview, the cosmic rhythm was not just something to be studied, it was something to be experienced, to be lived in harmony with. But let's dive deeper. The Mayans didn't just observe the stars, they believed that the universe itself was alive, and that it communicated with humanity through these celestial movements. In fact, their belief system was based on the idea that the universe was a living, breathing organism, constantly shifting and evolving. The calendar was their way of tracking this evolution. Just as the seasons change, just as the moon waxes and wanes, the Mayans believed that humanity was meant to align itself with these rhythms. The Mayans saw themselves as participants in a larger cosmic dance. Their actions, their decisions, their spiritual practices, they believed all of these were intertwined with the universe. And so they measured time not as something detached from their lives, but as something that influenced every aspect of existence. The cycles of time didn't just mark the passage of years, they dictated the flow of energy throughout the world. In essence, the Mayans were living in sync with the universe. They didn't just wait for the stars to move, they responded to them. They aligned their lives with the movements of the planets, creating harmony between themselves and the cosmos. This isn't just some abstract spiritual idea. It's a practical daily guide to living. The Mayans knew that their connection to the cosmos wasn't just a metaphor, it was real. It was a force that influenced everything they did. So what can we learn from the Mayans today? What if their understanding of the cosmos is more relevant to us than we realize? Are we so disconnected from the universe, from the natural cycles that govern our world, that we've forgotten the deeper truths they knew? Could the key to unlocking our spiritual potential, our human potential, lie in reconnecting with the cosmic energy that the Mayans once understood so deeply? As we continue to uncover the mysteries of the Mayan connection to the cosmos, we realize that their wisdom wasn't just about observing the stars, it was about aligning themselves with the forces of nature, the energies that govern everything from the smallest atoms to the largest galaxies. The question remains, can we do the same? Can we reconnect with the cosmic rhythms that the Mayans understood and tap into that same energy to transform our lives? The Mayan civilization was known for many things: its advanced astronomy, its remarkable architecture, and of course, its intricate calendar system. But beneath the surface of these incredible accomplishments, the Mayans might have been hiding something far deeper, something that reaches beyond time, beyond history, and into the spiritual realms. What if their calendar system wasn't just a tool to track the days, but a key to unlock hidden teachings about the universe, the human spirit, and the very energy that connects all things? What if the Mayans were trying to pass on messages, not just about time, but about the deep mysteries of existence? The more we dig into the Mayan calendar, the more it becomes clear that this was no ordinary timekeeping system. It was coded, designed to hold hidden meanings that only a select few could truly understand. The Tzolk'in and Haab cycles were more than just days and months. They were spiritual symbols, each day, each number, each cycle representing something much more profound. Could it be that the Mayans weren't just recording the passing of time, they were recording cosmic wisdom? Wisdom so powerful it could alter the way we see the world, the universe, and ourselves. But here's the catch: this wisdom wasn't meant for everyone. It wasn't something the Mayans intended to share with the masses. It was hidden, passed down only to those who had reached a certain spiritual level, only to the initiated, those who had the ability to see beyond the surface and unlock the deeper meaning behind the symbols. The Mayans were a deeply spiritual people, and they believed in a reality far beyond what we can see with our eyes. Their worldview wasn't just about material things, it was about the energies and forces that flowed through the cosmos. Time wasn't just a sequence of events for them, it was a spiritual force. They believed that the cycles of time were connected to cosmic forces, that everything in existence was linked to these rhythms, and that through understanding time, you could unlock the unseen energies of the universe. But here's the real question. What exactly were the Mayans trying to teach us? What was hidden in their calendar that they didn't want everyone to know? Some believe that the Mayans encoded powerful teachings within the very fabric of their calendar system. These weren't just abstract ideas. They were practical lessons about the human spirit, the afterlife, and the interconnectedness of all things. In their spiritual system, the Mayans didn't just see the world as a material place where physical events happen. They believed that the physical world was just a reflection of a deeper spiritual reality. The energy that flowed through the universe, through the Tzolk'in, the planets, and even the human body was all connected. And through their calendar, the Mayans could tap into this energy, aligning themselves with the cosmos, understanding the flow of universal forces, and guiding their actions based on those forces. But there's a catch. To truly understand this hidden wisdom, one needed to be initiated. One needed to be spiritually ready. Only those who had undergone intense training, those who had reached a high level of spiritual development, could fully comprehend the teachings embedded in the calendar. The messages were encoded, wrapped in layers of symbolism that required insight, intuition, and a deep connection to the spiritual world. What exactly did the Mayans believe about the human spirit? How did they view life, death, and the afterlife? Their calendar wasn't just a tool for measuring time. It was a spiritual map that guided the soul through its journey on Earth. The Mayans believed that each cycle in their calendar wasn't just about earthly events. It was about the spiritual evolution of the individual and of humanity as a whole. Time for them was a spiritual process, a series of transformations that guided the soul through different stages of existence. But if this wisdom was hidden, what does it mean for us today? Are we still capable of accessing this ancient knowledge? Can we tap into the powerful energies the Mayans once understood so well? Perhaps the key lies in their calendar, in the sacred symbols they left behind. What if we too could learn to read the cycles, to understand the energies that flow through us and the universe, and to align ourselves with the hidden rhythms of time? We live in a world where time has become something we control. We check the clock, plan our days, and set our schedules. But the Mayans saw time differently. For them, time wasn't something to control. It was something to understand, to align with, to honor. Their calendar was more than just a tool for organizing the world. It was a spiritual tool that connected them to something far greater than themselves. And here's where it gets really intriguing. What if, by learning to understand the Mayan calendar, we could unlock the same spiritual potential they once tapped into? What if the hidden wisdom they encoded in their calendar was still available to us, waiting for us to discover it? And what if, just by understanding this ancient system, we could begin to align our lives with the very rhythms of the universe? Perhaps the Mayans weren't just warning us about the cycles of time. Maybe they were inviting us to join in, to step into the flow of those cycles and tap into the same power they once harnessed. They didn't just see time as a series of moments. They saw it as a sacred force. And through their calendar, they passed down the key to unlocking that force, a wisdom that can still guide us today. The Mayan civilization, with all its mysteries, has been gone for centuries. Yet, despite their disappearance, their legacy endures. The Mayan calendar, a product of their extraordinary understanding of time and the cosmos, still resonates with us today in ways we are only beginning to understand. Their teachings, hidden in plain sight, have waited for us to rediscover and unlock their wisdom. The fascinating part is that modern science is only now catching up to many of the ideas the Mayans grasped long ago. Their understanding of time wasn't linear like we view it today. The Mayans saw time as a cyclical force, an ongoing, repeating process that shapes the universe. This perception of time mirrors ideas found in modern physics and astronomy, concepts like cycles, patterns, and the interconnectedness of all things. But what does this ancient wisdom mean for us, living in a world so disconnected from the natural rhythms of the earth and the universe? Today, many of us live in a world of constant distraction, overwhelmed by technology and fast-paced living. We are disconnected from the natural world, its cycles, its rhythms, and its energies. And yet, the Mayans were in tune with these forces. They understood that everything in the universe was interconnected, that the cosmic cycles influenced not only the world around them, but their own spiritual lives and their civilization's very survival. What if the key to our future lies in reconnecting with these ancient teachings? What if, by understanding the deeper meanings behind the Mayan calendar, we could unlock a way to live in harmony with the universe's cycles, just as they once did? The Mayans believed that their calendar was a blueprint for understanding the natural order of the cosmos. They saw their alignment with these cycles as the key to their spiritual and physical well-being. Today, we are far removed from that understanding. We look at the stars and planets, but do we truly see the connections? The Mayans were able to perceive patterns in the universe that we still don't fully grasp. They recognized that the cycles of time, the movements of the stars, and the cosmic forces had an impact on everything. They believed these cycles were not just predictive, they were transformative. What if we could begin to see the world the way the Mayans did? What if we could reconnect with nature's rhythms, the ebb and flow of time, the rising and setting of the sun, the cycles of the moon, and the movement of the stars? What if we could align ourselves with those forces and tap into their power? Could we unlock the same wisdom and potential that the Mayans used to shape their civilization? The Mayan calendar was far more than a way to mark the days. It was a tool for understanding the universe itself. It held the key to the cosmic order, a map that connected them to the forces of nature. Their ability to predict celestial events, track the cycles of the planets, and align their rituals with these energies was no accident. It was a profound understanding of how everything in existence was tied together, how time, space, and consciousness are interconnected. If we're willing to embrace the Mayan view of time, we can start to see that we're not just passing through life. We are part of a larger cosmic process. We are part of an ongoing cycle, one that connects us not only to the Earth, but to the very stars themselves. The Mayans believed that by aligning with these cycles, we could achieve harmony with the universe, manifest greater spiritual awareness, and ultimately live more fulfilling lives. But the question is, do we have the courage to embrace this wisdom? Are we willing to reconnect with these deeper truths, to begin looking at time not as something we control, but as a force we align with? The Mayan calendar can be a powerful tool for rediscovering our place in the cosmos. It can help us navigate our own cycles, understand the energies that influence us, and live more consciously in the present moment. The Mayans weren't just keepers of ancient knowledge. They were also custodians of a deeper truth about our connection to the universe. They saw time as a sacred force, something to be revered, respected, and understood on a cosmic scale. By studying their calendar, we can begin to unravel the mysteries of time itself, unlocking hidden knowledge about our existence. This knowledge is not locked away in ancient texts or temples. It's within us. The Mayans understood this profound connection, and by reconnecting with their teachings, we can begin to understand our place in the unfolding story of the universe. The answers the Mayans left behind may be closer than we think. But to unlock those answers, we must open ourselves up to the deeper understanding they offered about the cosmos, about time, and about human potential. The Mayans left us more than just a calendar. They left us the keys to a deeper way of being, a way of understanding time, energy, and consciousness that transcends our limited modern view. The legacy of the Mayans is still here today, waiting for us to rediscover it, and in doing so, we might just unlock the wisdom we need to transform our world.